Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial. This is a follow-up, so let's just go ahead and jump right in and continue from where I left off in the previous tutorial. Anyway, one of the first things that you will need to do is type in chmod space /var. Nope, not /var, sorry. Dash R for recursiveness and V for verbose output /var /www/dvwa. Go ahead and press enter. Oh yeah, chmod does require you to actually give it a mod, so 777. Just go ahead and give it a global mod. Let me just show you the command one more time. Let's make it a bit clearer. Excellent. So this is the command that you need to type in order to change the mod of your folder. We are doing this so that we may actually see it here. If we don't do this, we won't actually see it here. Giving the global mode of 777 is a pretty bad idea, but considering that we are running this server locally, nobody really cares. Because nobody actually from outside has access to this, and it really doesn't matter since you are the only person with access to this particular folder, to this particular web server. Anyway, go ahead and click on it. You will immediately get this thing here, and it says unable to connect to the database MySQL error. Click here to set up the database. Go ahead and click on it. It says backend database MySQL create. Oops, what does it say here? Could not connect to the database. Please check the config file. Now, okay, the web app is actually right. We should check the config file to pass in some additional parameters. But aside from that, we will need to actually get our web server, get our SQL server up and running. Go ahead and type in apt-cache search my SQL space pipe. Oh, come on, give me the pipe. There we go. Pipe grep -i database space pipe again less. Now I'm piping it into less so that it would stop after a first screen full, and then I'm gonna scroll down manually through the rest of the packages. Excellent. So what do we got here? Anything that we need? You might think that this is what you need, but no, we are looking for a client. Probably should have written a client, but doesn't really matter. I can find it here. There we go. It says MySQL client. Go ahead and copy that name. Press Q to exit this. Type in apt-get install. Paste the name of the package MySQL client because the server is already installed, if I'm not mistaken. And there we go. It's done. If it's not installed, if the server is not installed, you can do just this as well, just in case. Server. Press enter, and there we go. So let me just find those commands. So this command that I have selected here, you can run it just in case. And you need to run this command, the second one that I've selected as well. I hope that's clear enough. That way we will be able to access our SQL server. Now what we need to do is type in service MySQL and restart, or just start mine. Yep, there we go. Starting MySQL database server, MySQL already running. So what I can do here is type in restart, starting, and there we go. Are corrupt or were not closed cleanly. Okay, so no problems there. I've been doing some tampering with it. So it just did some cleaning up work for me. No big deal there. Anyway, you will need this command, service MySQL start. It will not be started by default. As I said, I've been tampering with it, so it's already up and running on my system, primarily because I need to test things out before I actually show them to you. Now go ahead and clear the screen. You can type in MySQL space H for host. It's localhost space dash U for user, user is root, and space P for password. Now, if you're doing this the first time around, if you haven't done any configuration to the SQL database, you will not use the P parameter. So no P parameter, you will delete it, and this is what you will type in. I'm going to get an error saying access denied because I am using a password, and it says here using password. No, because I haven't passed any password parameters. But if you are running it for the first time, this is the command which you need to use. MySQL space -h localhost space -u space root without any password parameters. Because I've already set the password, I am going to type in -p for password argument, and I'm going to type in my password here, and there we go. It's up and running. I can actually connect to it without any problems. I'm currently using the MySQL database. This is what you type in the second time around when you actually set the password. You just type in -p for password argument. And if you're running it the first time around, you just type in you just type in this command. I don't want to reiterate it again. I hope you got that part. If you didn't, feel free to ask me pretty much anything you wish in the discussion section on Udemy. Anyway, the MySQL command syntax is a lot different from the Linux one. For example, you don't have clear, and you need to put semicolons at the end of your statements for them to take effect. Now, I have prepared a small list of commands here for us to use today. I want you to take a look at them. Let's just... come on, don't do this to me. Edit file, search, find. Font, give me 16. Come on, I'm a genius. Font, give me 16. Okay, so now you can see it a bit better. There we go. This is the command that you need to run. So you can type in any password that you wish here. I'm going to go ahead and type in test, as this machine is primarily for testing purposes. I would suggest that you type in something relatively complex. Make sure that if you really want to be secure and stuff like that, you can type in 8 characters with all sorts of things like dots, @signs, no words from English dictionary, anything of a kind. But again, don't emphasize security too much now, primarily because this is a virtual machine and only you have access to it, and only you will be using this SQL server. And I really don't think there is a need to type in anything super complex here. I am using the password test, although after the end of this tutorial, I'm probably going to delete this machine altogether. Anyway. This is the command which you need to use. Capital letters are not mandatory, but they're quite nice if you want to have a good layout of the syntax. If you type in this with lowercase letters, this command is going to work just fine as well. So I'm going to do this without the semicolon, just to show you what happens. Copy and paste it here. So set that, basically like English language. It says set password for root user at localhost equals password, and then parentheses, and within the parentheses you type in your password. The quotation marks are not part of the password. In between the quotation marks you will type your password in. So if I press enter, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to move on to the second line and wait for a second set of commands. But you can either pass different or additional parameters here. For the time being, I'm not going to do that. I just want a simple password from my MySQL database, and that's it. You can check it out on the net, setting passwords for MySQL databases. You will see that you can pass in a ton load of parameters ranging from encryption to substituting old passwords with new ones, and so on and so forth. For the time being, I'm just going to type in semicolon, but if you wanted to pass some additional arguments, you could type them in here. If not, type in the semicolon, press enter, and it's going to finish. It says query, okay, 0 rows affected, because I already have the password set to test. I would love to be able to clear the screen. I do believe that there is a command for that somewhere around here, but you cannot use clears. That's just what I want to emphasize here. Anyway, now that we have the password set up, I'm going to type in exit. And I'm going to go back to my website, see, okay, could not connect it to me. Please check the config file. Excellent. Now we need to clear the screen. Let's go ahead and change our working directory to cd var www dv ls. Where is the config file? Here is the first row. So cd config. Let's see what's in the config file. It's a PHP file. Excellent. So just type in nano config and scroll down. You will see here it says database server equals localhost database dvwa. Okay, you can leave that. That's going to get created. db user root. Now password is, this is definitely not our password. We need to type in test. Oh, this is not what I want to do. Let me just move here, delete this password, type in test, Control-O to save it, and Control-X to exit. There are other ways of authentication, but we're just going to use this simple password for the time being. Now, I have noticed that since I have created this new user test for myself in Kali Linux, there have been people in the discussion section who have been complaining about the permissions problem. Just make sure that you are root. So whatever you're doing of this nature or kind, if you're configuring passwords or editing these sort of files, make sure that you are root. You become root by typing in su. And okay, let me just go ahead and exit. Exit. There are stop jobs. Excellent. So I am now test at Kali. And if I type in su, I get prompted for a password. I type in test, and I'm gonna, come on. Excellent. I type in my password, and it's root at Kali. I become root. Now, it might seem strange to some people because I'm giving up my password here, but as I said, it's a virtual machine that I'm going to delete after this tutorial is done, so it doesn't really matter to me at all. I haven't even tuned the security precautions on this machine to a large extent. I have created real-time circumstances, but most of my passwords are like this. So they're pretty weak and they can be busted really fast. Fortunately for me, nobody from outside world has access to this machine. Anyway, go ahead and clear the screen. Now, it did tell me that some services have stopped. I'm just going to type in service my SQL status. Is it running? Threads, slow queries. Okay, so it has threads. I guess it's running. Okay, it is running. It's a little bit different in Fedora. It actually tells you immediately if it's active or running. I'm sure it says somewhere in this text that as well, but if it has threads, I guess it is running. Anyway, just go ahead and clear the screen. Now, service Apache 2, Apache 2 restart. Excellent. So it says that it could not reliably determine the server's fully qualified domain name. Doesn't really matter. That's not an error. That's a warning. Go back to your site. It says create the database. Excellent. So you see, database has been created. User stable was created. Data inserted into user stable guest book. Data inserted successful. No problems. It runs smoothly. If you have any problems concerning this procedure, just before you post the question, I would advise if you get an error of some sort or something of a kind, copy paste the error immediately. Don't wait for me to ask for the error. You will save a lot of time by just copying the error immediately so I can see what the problem is. And my first reply doesn't need to be copy the error and then you wait and then you copy the error and then you wait again and then I give you a reply. Rather instead, copy the error immediately so that my first reply can be, oh, you need to do this. Can you do it and solve the problems for yourselves, making it a far faster method. Anyway, here I am going to conclude this tutorial, and we're going to continue off in the next one. Until then, I bid you farewell and wish you a lot of success.